days a month, have been asked to do a great deal more work that they normally haven't had to do. Table setup, skirts, chairs, and then additionally, at the end of each night before their shift, they're tearing this down, putting everything away, because they have to have this ready for students for breakfast in the morning. So we added to their work by bringing our meetings here. So we treated them, the administration treated them to dinner here last spring, bought them some Bartolos as a thank you, but felt we should also talk about this group here tonight publicly as well for their additional work. And I'm dragging this on a little bit because you can see they're busy working and walking in. Stephen's coming from home, right? Stephen's our daytime custodian.
I see one come.
You see another come. There they are. Come on in, sir. Actually, why don't you guys come right up here and join me around there? While we waited for your arrival, we talked to the board and our public. Just as we wanted to thank you publicly. Said how I treated you to a little Bartolos last spring. Those of you that were here last spring. But more importantly, some public recognition for you as a team. We added to your workload. We appreciate the efforts. When we come in, things are perfect. We're able to get settled in with a little bit of setup of our own. It's seamless. End of the night, we know things are taken care of for our kids and we're ready to go in the morning. So Stephen Kiefer is our daytime custodian. Steve, give him away. So he works here daytime shift with our local students. And we have Becky Cantrell as our lead custodian here at night, along with Bryce Brisser and Irene. Okay. So tonight we have a certificate for you. I'll read them for you. Certificate of recognition is hereby awarded to the Collier Area School District custodian for his or her outstanding work and leadership in preparing Legal Avenue Elementary School for the district school board meetings, ensuring proper setup and going above and beyond the call of duty. So, Irene, thank you. Congratulations. Anything you want to say about your team?
Just that they're phenomenal people. Whatever they're asked to do, they do. They go above and beyond every day. Stephen, as I can tell you, daytime custodian, has his hands full every day. Not to mention the rest of them, but especially because he gets all the stuff during the day.
2 cafeterias. He has a kindergarten cafeteria and
lots to do.
And actually, he breaks this week. So.
And he does it, and he does it well, and he never. That's the best thing. These other guys are phenomenal. They do their work at night. They get this building ready every day for kids to come in here every morning and make sure that everything's set up and ready to go. They do a phenomenal job getting your guys' stuff ready every Thursday. There's nothing to say about them. I mean, they're great. Well, I love all my kids. They're all amazing.
No, get back to work. No. Thank you guys very much.
Next up is the president's report. I only don't have a whole lot this evening except to say that it's my understanding the township moved forward with the administrative building project. So I'd like to thank South Londonderry and the supervisors there for their help on that. I know it was a tough road. And I know there's at least one candidate for school board here tonight, but I'd like to reach out to any of the candidates if they would like to meet with me. Particularly since I've chosen not to run for re-election, but I'd be happy to sit down with anybody who wants to sit down and discuss this role of this board. And that's all I have under the president's report. Next is visitor comments, please. have you signed up or not?
I did not sign up. I didn't realize it was a sign-in. So my name is Alex Kinsey. I'm from 248 Valley Road. I live down there, towards the right side of the township.
5 minutes, right?
Yeah, understood. I'm here to kind of discuss the admin building a little bit. I have concerns on its complexity as far as the stormwater management system and how compact it is in that property. Background for me, I am a licensed land surveyor. I practice civil engineering, so this is kind of my realm. I process land development plans and design stormwater systems all the time. So when I saw this plan, I was like, wow, they're fitting a whole lot into a tiny little lot. It's a misshaped lot too. I understand you're quite far along with the plan, but it's not a done deal yet. So I figured my presentation is worth a shot. There's several items that are constricting this, and I worry it's to try to conserve, Chad's land. I understand what we're trying to do. I'm not sure how familiar each and every one of you are with the exact plan set, exact details. But it appears to me like since the property owner is processing the plan, it does seem like they're trying to compact us down to this kind of small space, and that's causing a lot of costs and maintenance issues for the future. We're worried about. First of all, these subsurface stormwater basins that are proposed, there's 2 of them on the property. First of all, they're very expensive to buy the products compared to just having a traditional surface basin like you have out back here. They're very hard to maintain, first of all, because you can't get to them. You're burning them, and then you're parking cars on top. So I understand. I've designed several of them myself, so I understand why you want them and why they're necessary. I was actually impressed that the engineer here was able to fit this all in this small space. I worry that staff with the township is not going to know how to properly maintain those, keep logs and reports for DEP on those, things like that. It gets more complex with these advanced systems. I feel there is alternate solutions to this. I actually sketched one up here to share with you if you'd like, but it would take a little more land, and that's why I feel maybe that's why this design is being proposed. The other thing I find issue with in this design is that the way traffic will be routed into the facility, you're immediately taking a sharp left, and you have to go through a maze of parking just to get to the building. It's also apparent to me that parking is crammed in around the building, trying to make this property as compact as possible. Which again is impressive if we needed to, but I see a 15-acre tract, we're creating a lot. If we're going to create a lot, I don't think it's too much to ask to make it a little bit bigger lot. So what I'd like to do is pass these out to you if you don't mind for your reviewing. And other than that, I just want to just generally inform you that I just don't think it's the best idea. I think it's going to cost a lot of extra time and money, not just up front, but also in the long run for maintenance. There's a better solution here that's a lot simpler, and I feel since we're all paying for that, it would be worth considering. I also feel I understand approximately how much money they put into this too, because I bid projects like this all the time. So I don't feel even if you would change the design completely at this point to go to something like I'm suggesting, the money will still be there at the end of the day, even if you do have to pay for a little more land to make this work to get a simpler product for everyone. So I'm going to pass this out if you don't mind.
Are these for us to keep or do you need it back? Thank you.
This is just personal sketch. I made these up. I overlaid this on their overall stormwater management plan that Hanover had completed. Tried to make it simple so everybody understand. I added some key notes on there to kind of show how these things could be adjusted. I apologize I'm only getting to this now. I'm not quite a busy year, so we need to make this presentation for a while. So do you mind if I just point out this, where am I at for time?
No, you have a couple.
Okay. So what I'm proposing here is if you shift the building back about 140 feet, that's all it would take to, if the lot would get a little bit bigger, you'd be purchasing a little more land, but you'll make that money back in dividends by not installing all these complex systems. This would propose a surface basin up front and then a more traditional square rectangular parking lot like Wall used to. It would also eliminate the need for an easement on the south end of the property and provide a more simpler drainage system. Take a lot less things like stormwater inlets and piping around the property. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Again, Alex Kinsey, 248 Valley. If you have any questions, I'm sure you can get a hold of me.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody else have any public comment? Mr. Clayton.
I became aware of the instant messaging and VoIP social platform known as Discord shortly after September the 10th of this year. Then a bit after that, I became aware of Discord hubs and how these hubs can be embedded within a K-12 public school district or within an extracurricular activity or entity associated with such a district. In light of the recent murder of the founder of Turning Point USA and multiple reports about school officials celebrating this murder, questions came to mind. Here in 2025, is it or is it not unethical or otherwise improper for a PASD administrator, educator, or other district employee to communicate with a PASD student by means of Discord, to accept a Discord communication from a PASD student, or to play a role in establishing a Discord hub associated with the PASD or utilized by one or more PASD students? Also, concerning a child's online experiences, would it or would it not be unethical or otherwise improper for a PASD employee by means of a PASD extracurricular activity setting to introduce one or more PASD students into the online world of Roblox? That is spelled ROBLOX. So, since there have been recent reports of suicide pacts forming in Discord social media groups in the name of PASD student welfare, will the PASD be willing to provide next month to district residents the facts surrounding these two questions? Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Clayton. Any other public comment, please? Go once, go twice, see none. Buildings and grounds. This is going time. So.
Buildings and Grounds Committee met on September 11th. We had a construction update by Mr. Dresch for the September 25th construction report. There was no public comment, and that was all.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilligan. Mrs. Braden, Finance, please.
Yes, thank you. Finance last met on September 11th, 2025. There were no agenda items and no public comment. It's very swift. That is all for finance.
Thank you, Mrs. Braden. Mrs. Gilligan, Staffing and Administration, please. Oh, Larry, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I didn't do it. I promise.
Okay. Staffing and Administration Committee session met September 11th, 2025. ESBA election of officers was reviewed by Mr. Prince. The board had first reading of policy 102, academic standards, 105, curriculum, and 209.2, diabetes management. We had the second reading, policy 805, emergency preparedness and response. We reviewed the pay survey, talked about the proposed Disney music trip 2026 and the 25-26 music festival and field trips. Public comment by Mr. Yarn, commenting on the survey. Mr. Please comment on curriculum. And we close with the announcement of executive session by the president. We have a motion to elect Pennsylvania School Board Association PSBA officers as listed.
Mr. Guy puts forth a motion to elect Pennsylvania School Board Association PSBA officers as follows. 2026 President-elect, one-year term, Holly Arnold. 2026 Vice President, one-year term, Matt Benoit. 26-27 PSBA Section E3 Advisor, two-year term, and Klein. And 25 through 28 PSBA Insurance Trustee, three-year term. Up to two candidates, Kathy Swope and Roberta M. Marcus. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Brady. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Two opposed. Motion carries. Mr. Guy.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agreement with BTI School Services LLC for a functional behavioral assessment at a base rate of $1,000 for 10 hours of service. Hours needed beyond 10 hours will be billed at a rate of $125.
Mr. Guy made a motion to approve the agreement with BTI School Services LLC for a functional behavioral assessment at a base rate of $1,000 for 10 hours of service. Hours needed beyond 10 will be billed at $125 per hour. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Gilligan. Discussion on the matter, please.
Quick question. Is there any anticipation of many more hours past that 10, or is this typically wrapped up within that 10-hour time frame?
Usually 10 hours of the assessment and also the report. That's just the extra case where the time should be done.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on the matter, please? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Okay, we have a motion to approve staffing and administration committee items as noted in the staffing and administrative consent agenda.
Mr. Guy made a motion to approve staffing and administration committee items as noted on the staffing and administration consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Brady. Dr. Keller.
Just to highlight a few resignations, 3 new hires in the support staff. You'll see some additional substitutes we're looking to bring on board. A few winter coaches who finalized paperwork and are able to be added to the agenda. Our softball coaching staff recommendation. Highlight that as the new coaching staff for the spring. The aforementioned policies that were reviewed in committee. The Disney trip for the music department in spring 26, and then the list of music festivals that our students qualify are all before you this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Kepler. Any more discussion on the matter? Hearing of none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
One opposed, motion carries. Item 12, reports. Dr. Kepler, superintendent's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Coble. So it's that time we need to start honoring students for Students of the Month. Pleased to present Morgan Bonanno for our September High School Rotary Student of the Month. I believe in the first Monday in October, I have the opportunity to attend the Rotary meeting with Morgan and family, celebrate her that evening. Also, congratulations to our middle school September students of the month, Trent McGraw, Adeline Henry, and Amy Tortola. Also, I would like to share an email that Mr. Weidler, our athletic director, received, and enlarge it so you can see it out there. I'll just read this one to you because I think it says a lot. This email is from a parent of a girls soccer player from an opposing team. And she wrote, I just wanted to send you an email to show gratitude to your girls varsity soccer team. I'm the mom of the goalie for, and for anonymity purposes, I removed that team. I just wanted to show my appreciation for your team. Even though we lost the game, your girls had the best sportsmanship. Several of the girls approached my daughter and told her she was an awesome goalie and that she did such a great job. And this is her first full year of being a goalie. That right there is awesome sportsmanship. And I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of them. You all should be so proud of them. Kudos to your girls soccer team kudos to our girls soccer team for representing us so well. That's what Palmyra is all about. Also highlight while I'm on athletics, our fall season, Mr. Weiler reports 377 student athletes representing the Cougars in 7th and 12th grade as of Monday. So this has changed. So when this was put together on Monday, field hockey is 8-0, ranked number 1 in District 3. Those are in PIAA based games. We did have an out-of-state loss in a highly competitive weekend tournament. See our girls soccer 3 and 7. Girls tennis having one of their best records in history, ranked 7th in District 3A. Girls volleyball, I got to see this week, so I saw them beat Trinity. So I know that record has improved. Boys soccer, 3-5-1 as of Monday. And football, 2 and 3. I'm excited. They've been really working hard. I think they have a shot at winning Friday and become 3 and 3, which for that program right now, I'm proud of those boys. Also, congratulations to Cornelius Cummings, who recently broke our newly revamped North Londonderry Township cross-country course in 16 minutes and 49.4 seconds. Pleased to share an update on our communications campaign. One of our annual goals this year is our ability to expand how we can communicate with our citizens here in the community. We readily communicate to our parents and guardians in our school messenger system. So we're rolling out, back at the table when you came in tonight, there is a postcard that gives our citizens 4 ways to sign up and submit their email address. You can use the QR code, you can go to a website, you can email us, or you can send us a phone number, or call us, and we'll add your email into a community group, and we'll send out periodic newsletters to you, highlighting who we are and what we're doing in the school district. Can use that also in emergency purposes. It might be such a need where we need to communicate to our constituents at large. So please reach out, take one of these. We printed a number of them to get out in the community. Next week, we're going to be distributing them around to businesses. I'm also going to be sending it home electronically to our families, saying please share with your neighbors, cousins, friends, aunts, and uncles, so we can spread the word and reach as many of our community folks as possible. Please help yourself one of those on the way out if you didn't grab one already. Excited, we held our first safety committee meeting this week with our first responders. Had the best turnout in quite some time. I think there were 24, 25 of us in the room from our 3 police departments, fire departments, EMS, county, and met at Forge, working on our community threat assessment team, swatting protocols. We reviewed the district's online emergency plan software, how we house our emergency plan, and did our tour of Forge Road Elementary, helping our first responders be comfortable with that building. Also, final touches of our 2 roofing projects at Forge Road and Palmyra Middle School. Should be closing up here any day now. You'll see renovations at Bucks Lane. We should see sod being placed down on that field beginning Monday. And then around October 6th, the track surface will be next. Bleacher install slated for November, December. I also, and for many members of the media tonight, I do have a press release for you on this, and can also email it to you so the active links will work for you. Just this week, we learned our application was accepted, and you're now the 51st school district in the Commonwealth to receive Great PA Schools recognition through the Pennsylvania School Boards Association. This recognition is based upon academic rigor, resilience, being financially healthy, and community centered. I have a link there for where you can see the great paschools.com/designation to find further information. They might not have us listed yet, but we got our formal invitation. We received that honor. So thank you to all our community and our students and staff for making that possible. Also, PIAA update for our community and our board. Interestingly enough, faith-based schools in Pennsylvania, historically, their students were not allowed to participate in interscholastic athletics. Recent federal lawsuit out of the State College area school district has changed that landscape to a student that attends a faith-based school. If their faith-based school does not offer that sport, they are now automatically eligible to participate in that sport in their district of residence. There's a process that they simply just have to contact the athletic director, superintendent, verify that they don't have that sport, and then students eligible to participate here. A couple things that question I have in mind just for our board's knowledge. We currently have a co-op of Hershey Christian School for girls wrestling. We have to look at should that continue or not. A couple factors is we have students that aren't Palmyra students that are wrestling with us as a result that aren't residents here but can wrestle with us under that co-op. Another factor, the co-op consideration, we have to factor in the enrollment of that school into our enrollment, which determines if we're AA, AAA, quad A, etc. Under this new resolution out of the courts, students from a faith-based school participating back in their own school, the enrollment of that school does not count or factor into the equation of what classification we play. Okay? So more to come on that. We anticipate hearing from some of our Palmyra residents who attend a faith-based school and will be able to participate. And I don't want to steal too much of Addie's thunder, our student rep, so I'll only mention October 13th, no school teacher in service today coming up on their calendars. I know Addie's full of updates from our student body. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Kepler. Would you be so kind as to introduce Addie, our new student representative?
Thank you, Mr. Cole.
Sorry.
No, happy to introduce to you a very well-rounded student. Addie, a student that I've seen grow and mature on the basketball court. She's a student first, a good student athlete, having just committed to play Division II basketball in the PSAC conference for Mansfield. So we're excited for her senior basketball season this winter, and then her future endeavors at Mansfield. We know she'll do well in the classroom and on the basketball court. And just newly elected president of our student council. So Addie Salas, I'll turn it over to you. Welcome to the board as our student rep.
Thank you. Some upcoming events on behalf of student councils. We have our homecoming dance, which is October 4th from 7 to 10 at the high school. We have our homecoming football game and crowning, which is on October 3rd at LPC this year. And we have our parade, which is October 2nd at 5:30. Our homecoming parade floats are holiday themed this year. And we have our Orange and Black Bowl this Sunday at the turf, the soccer turf, which is free admission for anyone who comes. It's when the junior girls and the senior girls play a game of flag football. Outside of student council, Minithon has had many of their board-out games for their fall sports. Their next one will be girls tennis on Tuesday, September 30th. And then they are also having a trunk or treat on October 18th from 3 to 6 in the back parking lot of the high school, where they just raise money for kids with childhood cancer. And then on behalf of the whole student body, the new cell phone policy has proven to be very effective. Not all students might not like having to put their phones up, but they seem to be learning and paying attention out more since they don't have their cell phone within arm's reach. But other than that, there's not too many events going on. The student body seems to be good. Senior year has been very enjoyable for all high school, so it's been good.
Thank you very much and welcome. It'll be good to have you for the next year. Lebanon County Career and Technology Center report is Mr. Watermilk. He is not present. So we will skip to Palmyra Parks and Recreation Commission report, please.
So neither one of us were at the last meeting, but I did pull up the director's report, and just one thing that I think is worth noting. So they finished up their summer camp this past year, and their profit was over $123,000, which exceeded her budget projection by over $15,000. My child actually participated in the summer camp this year for the first time, raved about it, all good things. So I just think I know they appreciate the relationship that they have to be able to use the facilities. So I just thought that was worth noting. And then the only other thing I noted on here was, I don't know if the public is even aware, I think I mentioned this before, you can submit your render's receipts to the Parks and Rec office, and then renders gives them like a portion back. And that money that we receive gets deposited into their Very Regal Scholarship Program. So your renders receipts at the bottom of your first tournament.
Thank you. IU13 report, please.
That's me. So we last met on September 10th at the Lancaster location. Pretty standard business meeting, through various business contracts, we did approve a salary increase for our executive director, Mr. Matthew Stem, retroactive to July 1st. We also approved a memorandum of agreement to extend the fertility benefit, adoption benefit pilot program through the 2025-26 plan year. And they also wanted me to highlight another thing about the Northern Lebanon Education Center. They have a clothing closet there. And since January of 2025, they've had 75 volunteers for the community, and they have served over 216 households, allowing those families to choose clothing at no cost. They had a back-to-school blessings event, which was attended by 55 families, including 104 students. And they also have the IU13 School to Work students who work there, and they learn skills such as washing, drying donations, folding and packing clothing. And there's this relationships there that are cultivated between social workers and students and families. So they wanted us to highlight that and just let the community know that that's there. And just so if they have any donations or any interest in serving there, to reach out. And I have a tour of that facility. It's very, very, very nice. The way it's set up is like a store. People come in, purchase for free, but purchase in the way that they have set up clothing or anything there that they need. So our next meeting is then scheduled for October 8th, Lancaster location. That's my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Martin. In Mr. Waterwell's absence, Dr. Kepler, would you be comfortable doing a Cooper Foundation report?
The Cooper Foundation meets quarterly, so there's not been a meeting.
Well, that was easy. Mr. Guy, Palmyra Public Library.
Library met on September 16th. We're not the only ones that have to do an audit report. Library has to do one as well, so that was a lengthy meeting. And like the school district, we also had to have an emergency plan, so we worked on that. There was discussion, this is the first time in 30 years that the Phoenix Center has not been in existence. And because of decline in enrollment and because of cuts in the United Way as far as funding it, it no longer exists. Question just was what, if any, impact we're having on those endangered students that used to participate in it. And then we also had a discussion, rather interesting discussion, and this was generated when at the last board meeting, the election board chairman came in and talked about the inability of young adults to be able to use their signature and sign that. Of course, the library talked about what they might be able to do to help that. I think it's kind of a bigger problem than what the library itself can deal with. You take just about every major document from car loans, marriage license, license appeals for your car, you all need signature. And since we spent so much time the last time talking about the Middle Ages, during the Middle Ages, only 10% of the population can sign their name. And one of the biggest bragging rights of any medieval citizen would be, I can sign my name. So I personally feel that there's a need. I've talked to Dr. Kepler about that and what the district might do. I would just like us to consider, since the board does have the power and right to create graduations requirements, the requirement of an individual to sign their name. I don't think it's a big deal. My grandson, both of them taught themselves how to sign their name, and they're exceptional individuals, my grandson. But seriously, I think a couple hours, I just think it's something that all our kids should have. And that ends my report.
Shocking and interesting. Thank you, Mr. Head. Lebanon County Tax Collection Committee Report.
We also meet quarterly, and we have not met since our last meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for November.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. Mrs. Gilligan, Lebanon County Legislative Region Report, please.
Just to reiterate on what Larry said, my son that graduated from here, he did not know how to sign his name also when it came to his first car loan. So I'd be very much for that we get that back in and so they have to do that. So anyway, the state budget, of course, we know has not passed yet. Districts are operating without a complete financial picture, forcing adjustments to staffing, maintenance, technology, upgrades, and program enhancements. There's a lot of uncertainty around the state. They're holding back about $2 billion in state basic education, special education, and transportation funding. As a result, some school districts are resorting to having to borrow money, which is a costly measure, and you don't want to do that. Some districts and administrators, they're asking to voice their opinion and share these impacts with committees and legislatures. And with that, I did send a lot of emails to our legislators to tell them about, how this is hurting our school districts. And as of today, I have not heard anything back from them. But I did send a bunch out, and we'll just see, maybe till the next time I'll get some replies. And that's all.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mrs. Gilligan. I am not aware of any other reports. And as always, communications can be found on the district website. I will now seek a motion for adjournment. By Mr. Guy, do we have a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Alderman, any discussion? Hearing none. Meeting is adjourned.
Recording stopped.
I guess we shall jump right into curriculum.
And for curriculum, we have recommend to approve the Palmyra Area School District Pep Club for a motion.
Catch up to you a little bit.
Hey. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, first I have this evening an exciting new club offering at the middle school called the Palmyra Area Middle School Pep Club. The club is created by teachers with the purpose of providing leadership opportunities and experiences for our students. Emily Miller, world language teacher, Tyler Masser, grade 6 math and social studies teacher, and Amanda Mateo, thank you. Help PE teacher have volunteered their time to serve as co-advisors. These 8th grade students be selected through an application interview process that represent their home groups and will form a leadership group to plan, coordinate, prepare, and lead a variety of activities at the three middle school pep rallies that occur throughout the year.
also have some book approvals.
Yeah, second item, 2 book approvals. These come from Forge Road, just like last month's. These are for 4th grade teachers, Miss Lucy and Mrs. Luciana. Similar to last month's board approval, these books will be used as read alouds during novel study time. So this is the time that occurs during 15 minutes after students return from lunch and recess. And it's used to teach the process of thinking while reading, which includes questioning, predicting, making connections, character traits, inferring, etc. Kids are sure to love the Shiloh book series, which is a classic, and the Unteachable, which sounds pretty fun.
Okay, and then the third item is the NAEP 2026.
This is just an informational item about the 2026 National Assessment of Educational Progress testing. It'll be occurring at Pine Street Elementary and Palmyra Area Middle School. They've both been selected to participate in NAEP testing. It will occur during a window between January 26th and March 20th. There was a graphic provided for you, facts for districts. As you can read in the NAEP 2026 facts for districts, the NAEP is the largest nationally representative and continuing assessment of what our nation's students know and can do in various subjects such as civics, mathematics, reading, science, and U.S. history. So NAEP, as it's often referred to, is congressionally mandated. So schools that are selected must participate. You may see the results labeled the nation's report card. So we see that in newspapers and media. We do not get individual results. Ours are part of statewide results.
Okay, and that's everything that's on the agenda. Is there any public comment?
Just real quick about the cursive writing. When my kid was in elementary school, nobody else could write, sign her name. So they asked her to start a cursive club. I guess it didn't go over well. So it never got started. But I agree. I work at a hospital and sometimes have to read papers that are written. And it's rough. It is rough. But also that NAEP testing, we're doing another test and assessment. We already have PSSAs and keystones. I don't understand that. That's it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Next.
Thank you, Mr. Gilligan. That brings up staffing and administration.
Thank you.
Mr. Guy.
So we have the change order review for Buck Swankstein.
This is something that Mr. Dresch touched upon during his construction update at the Buildings and Grounds meeting 2 weeks ago, but we had not received the actual official paperwork, so we wanted to make sure this was put in front of the board. But the change order is a combination of 2 items. One is to, there had been electronic locks provided for the restrooms. Those wouldn't, not feasible for us to do that, as they would need to be fobbed open. So providing back just regular locks that can be unlocked with a key, unlocked during games, and then locked during the downtime. The other one was an extension of an asphalt walkway going behind the bleachers from the parking lot to the ticket booth. And the extension was needed to ensure that it is, or it could be compliant for handicap.
Which opens up a question that I have, and unfortunately the gentleman left. We do have this talk about change orders. I don't know if this is reasonable. I don't know if it's feasible. I just like to know, public session, what are we going to do with this?
Obviously, not in a point to react to something that's just been put in front of us a couple of minutes ago. So I did provide the gentleman with my contact information. Yes, to reach out to me.
Yes, sir. You know, you're not always sure where we're going with things, and just want to make sure. Okay, the next thing is the Caring Foundation agreement.
The Caring Foundation comes from the Highmark Caring Place. They really provide resources to our school counselors to have groups for students that have loved ones that have passed away. So if, the agreement is to collaborate with them. So the agreement does go through their processes to make sure that we have school staff involved in it. It's training for our staff, but also to run groups at our buildings in our school. So through the agreement, they do want to make sure that they're following their board policy. So included in there is board policy 112 for school counseling programs, 818 contracted services. Now there is no fee for this. It's just a partnership. We want to make sure that was included. And then 913 non-school organization groups and individuals. So it just kind of lays out their role in working with our staff to provide this service. There are no fees, but it is requirement that our staff is involved through this process as well.
So this group, they won't work directly with our students, they'll just work with our staff.
They work with our students and our staff. So we would get permission to sign forms that our school is responsible for communicating with families to ask if they want to participate in the groups.
During school hours.
During school hours. And they are for students that are grieving a loved one, but also students that are able to discuss in groups that haven't had a trauma situation, or able to behave and participate productively in the group setting.
As you're speaking, my brain's going towards involving the family. Like if we're taking students out of class to do this in a group setting with peers during school, I just feel if especially if you're dealing with trauma of losing a loved one, that like maybe after school meeting with the whole family. Is that something that this program would cover, like after school and including the family, you know?
Well, the families communicated with, it is during the school session that the students are here, the school staff are involved. But it's really the low level of the grieving process. So if there is significant trauma, this program is not appropriate for them. Certainly we have other counseling programs for that. But it's just a way to appreciate and remember the loved one, but also in those times when they're distracted and things are going on, that they can get past that and continue their learning process.
And forgive me, you may have already said it, but I just want to clarify, parental permission is necessary in order for them to participate regardless of their age.
Correct. And the communication comes from us. So they'll give us guidance, but we send out the communication, we're responsible for that.
So how do we reconcile policy 913 that says activities sponsored by non-school organizations, groups, or individuals shall not occur during instructional time or school-sponsored activities? Policy 913 specifically says that. Right. So that's my issue. Like, I think this is a great thing, great program. I know about it, it's from the Pittsburgh area. But we are a district that is supposed to be about education, not about mental health. That's our focus. So if this was an after-school program, I would be completely in favor of that. But if it's during instructional time, I'm not in favor of that. I don't want our kids being taken out for yet another thing. Even though it's a noble thing, like this is a great, great program. But I think we are to be about education, not about mental health as a focus. I think, like I said, it's a good thing, but it's not. And plus, we would have to change our policy, I think, in order to, unless I'm reading that somehow.
I think the difference too is that our staff are involved in it. So it's not just a group coming in to pull our students. So our staff is directly involved.
But they're sponsoring. We're not sponsoring. Like this is not our idea. This is not our sponsorship. This is sponsored by Big Caring.
Part of it is then after they are completed, the goal is that our staff, our counselors, begin trained so they could continue running groups after they leave. So it's not only just working with our student groups, it's working with our faculty and staff to be able to run those sections.
So we would have to, like, according to the agreement, then we have to have key personnel. So that means we have to hire additional people, or we would have to put additional burdens on our current staff.
These are our school counselors, social workers that could be involved. And they're the ones that brought this as a need that they saw could benefit our students.
That was my next question. It's like, how did this come to our plate? Because when I did some research, there were a few districts that did it. Most of the districts just had some information on the websites that this is available to the families. The one district I found actually did it was a district that I had to take my youngest special needs son to a preschool program in back in Pittsburgh area, and it was one of the scariest districts in the area, and it obviously needed. I just still come back to the during school hours. Like I just have a problem with that. We're already talking about all the testing that they have to be pulled out for, and pulled out for this, pulled out for that. I just think we need to do that education. We already have the counselor program. We already have the guidance counselors. So if this is something parents are interested in, let's look at an after school.
And these are typically involved students that counselors are aware of the need that they have worked with, and just desire to continue these conversations and support, and just to they can increase their professional development to provide these groups and have those conversations moving forward.
And so I think it's a great idea. I really do. I just don't want it done during school hours. That's my issue.
With those counselors that brought it forward, so it wouldn't be mandatory or pushed upon any of our schools to do it. But those other counselors have reached out, and those that are interested would be the ones participating. They also have requirement for minimum number of students to participate in the groups, so to make sure that there's enough to have a small group. So it's not going to be, less than 2 students to have a group that way they can discuss and work together through this.
I find myself agreeing with Joe on this. I mean, I think it's a great program.
Wait a minute, can you say that again?
Yeah.
Say it slower. Say it slower.
I find myself agreeing with it's a miracle. Okay, but again, it's
I'm sorry, Jimmy, this is
God, I love this place. Actually, I'm not surprised with the instructional hours thing.
yeah. I just think the kids in crisis, and what we're doing is we're pulling them out of the classroom. And I just don't think that's the best idea.
And these aren't kids in crisis, just to clarify.
I definitely know that. Sometimes they're better off in that classroom.
Could we ask your counseling staff to bring back an idea of maybe when these groups could meet that would not affect instructional time?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
I think if the parents okay with it, pulling their child out of the classroom, then I think that would be fine for that student.
I kick it around a little bit. I would assume that the idea is that they're really not focused in class anyway. That whole idea of addressing, the trauma, but at the same time, I'm not certain that missing more class time is the fix. So I'm kind of half and half. I understand the need and the reason, but I am kind of in agreement with the loss of class time.
Each crisis is different. Each student is different. That's the thing. So maybe the benefit, maybe.
But if we could explore, like Mrs. Brady said, I'd like to hear some other options as well. If there's pause periods or whatever, and we can work in that way, I'd certainly be willing to discuss it further.
I do too.
Absolutely.
Dr. Miller will go back to our counselors and bring you further information.
Thank you.
Okay. Administrative regulations.
This agenda item tonight stems from the development of written administrative regulations, which are basically procedures that district administration operates under. If you look at our board policy, you can see the vast nature of policies, where there are 10 different groups of policies from the zeros all the way up to the 900s. Could be 50, 60 policies in each of those areas. And then you further develop board controls policy. As you see here at these meetings, administrative regulations are written and developed by the administration under the direction of the superintendent. For perspective, there are policies. You see how many policies we have. Some policies have 10, 12 administrative regulations just for one policy. Most aren't that way, some are. So then for context, you'll see our policies range from 1995, was a big year this district did policies. 2007, you can see a pattern where I'm guessing that was the first time they adopted PSBA policy service. And then at some point there it went away. When I came to the district as assistant superintendent in 2013, policies hadn't really been worked on. At some point in there, we resubscribed to PSBA's policy services, their policy news network. And it wasn't until 2019, 2020, when I stepped into the superintendency, that we began to work on administrative regulations. So when I took this seat, we had 0 written administrative regulations. So for that background, we've been developing them over the last 6 years, particularly when we've revamped policy and brought policy to this board. We've updated admin regs. And then there are several that we have developed outside of that. We've set prioritization of what are some of our greatest needs, try to address those administrative regulations. We have hundreds done. We do track what we have, what we need, but they're far from complete. So the board has asked us to talk about this topic and say, is this a goal area? Is this something that you as a board want the administration to bring a timetable to you for and seek your input in the development of a timeline for completion of these written administrative regulations?
Well, this was brought to the agenda in part by me. I had asked for us to look at this because we had a couple of policies this year. The last one that was on the agenda tonight for diabetes management, where we are approving policies that reference administrative regulations. And when I asked to see those, I was told they don't exist. And then this also happened with the bullying policy back this spring. We were told it didn't exist, and then I was sent a draft that was created. And so my concern lied not so much with having them all done for every policy, but at least having them done for the ones where the policies we are approving reference them. And with something like diabetes management, I think it opens us up to liability if our policy says we have an admin rig, if something happens, we don't have that rig. I was just concerned about that. So I would like us to talk about at least having a timetable to have all of the ones finished that we approve as a board within the policy. And, in personal situations with the bullying policy this year, an incident happened with my son because the admin regulations were not in any form at all finalized. It just made the situation much more complicated, in my opinion. And so I want to make sure that's remedied for any future parent that has to undergo an unfortunate circumstance that my family did. They don't have to go through something like that where it's more complicated because there isn't an admin regulation in place. So that's what precipitated this conversation, I believe, unless somebody else had been talking about this as well. But that's primarily, like I said, a concern to make a process as smooth as possible for a parent undergoing a stressful situation, number one. Number two, like the diabetes management, God forbid something would happen to a child. I want to make sure that we have the regulations in place to best handle those situations so that the child is protected and our district is protected from liability as well.
Prepare yourself. This is the second time I read Jill today. I know it's going to be a hassle. I've lost count, however, of the number of times over the past 10 years that I have asked for the creation of a policy writer -- public relations person to do things like this, to ask the superintendent to add this onto his responsibilities. I think is ill-conceived. It was in the proposed budget last year. The board chose not to keep it in there. So once again, this is a great idea. I just think that it could be done much more effective and efficiently if we had a designated person to do this.
Many of the admin regulations, when I look at schools where I have friends on the board or friends who have students, many of them use the PSBA templates. So it's really not a time-intensive job. I think it's something that could be spread out amongst current staff and not be a huge burden on that staff. Especially if they use the PSBA templates. And when Dr. Kepler sent me the draft bullying policies, they were created each 3 minutes each, according to the metadata of the file. So if it's taking 3 minutes each to create each one, that's not a huge burden to at least get the ones done that are specifically referenced in the policies. I think for me, I would triage it that way. I would say I want a timetable of having the ones done where we're approving them. They're already approved and mentioned specifically in our policies. And then go from there as to making sure all the rest are done. I don't think those would have such a huge priority, but I think just to make sure that it's done because it should be done, that those at some point, are on a timetable too, but those could be farther out in my opinion. I don't think they're as important, but like I said, I would want to see the ones that are specifically referenced in board policies that we've already approved done within a certain timetable that this board would agree on.
And as superintendent, I agree with Mrs. Martin and Mr. Guy in that they should be done. If it's a prioritization of the board, we can certainly work on these and set a faster timeline. To put into perspective, just for clarification, the metadata that you speak of, Mrs. Martin, we keep the drafts in one agenda. Draft I downloaded, the 3 minutes was me saving that. What the board community don't see is the hours of work. That bullying administrative regulation was probably 2 to 3 different administrative team meetings. We spent hours reviewing that, updating that, taking a template that PSBA provides and making sure is what we put in print as a procedure we best follow. So we made it hours. So it was hours of work in the finalization of that. They're not, some of them are very quick. The diabetes management one you referenced, basically PSBA references to a website. We added a few statements on there specific to the procedures that we're using and making sure we're specific relative to the new requirement of notification to families for the diabetes management form. But
one of my friend's schools, they have 6 ARs for that diabetes management. So they must have, I don't know the specifics of why, maybe they've had some issues in their particular school. But yeah, sometimes they have to be more complicated and sometimes they don't. I am very appreciative that you went through the process of pulling ARs because unfortunately in our current society, that's a common issue and that's very unfortunate. So I'm thankful that we have for them to do that.
And I agree with Mrs. Martin that written guidelines, referenced in policy, so it's important. But to emphasize to the board and the community, this administrative team has very sound procedures. Follow them to the T. We have sound recording of actions, particularly student-related items, very clear procedures on how we document, process these procedures and outcomes. So But again, with that said, they need to be in written form.
Thank you for that, Dr. Kepler. Certainly, I'm in agreement as well, and I think you had suggested early on in this conversation that the administration would be willing to bring forth some sort of a timetable on getting this done. And I certainly appreciate the work that has already been done, and I know that our board policy, we've been furiously updating that over the last several years too. Trying to get ourselves up to speed, I suppose. And that is appreciated too. So maybe along with that timetable, we could bring forth, provided this board support, we could also include or maybe utilize what Mrs. Martin said about triaging the most important ones and make sure we get those done first and then perhaps go back. So you would be willing to do that? Because I know there's only, that probably gets used frequently. So I'm guessing that's one that should be at the top of the priority.
That's been done.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's.
We're happy to bring to the board a proposal of prioritization and relative timeline.
Well, that has my support. Yeah, it sounds like yes, direction from the board. Thank you.
Okay, public comment. Okay, doesn't seem like any. Then we have the announcement of the executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Guy. The board will meet in executive session immediately following tonight's meeting for purposes of contract negotiations, discussions, and for student matters that are confidential under FERPA. We will take a 10-minute break and then meet in the library. Thank you.